Welcome to the Unstoppable Pursuit podcast, where we're pushing the limits in business, life, and health. And today, it's episode 25. We are talking about the 5 laws of stratospheric success. I had to say that slow so I didn't butcher it. But yeah, it's from The Go-Giver by Bob Burg. I've had the pleasure of interviewing him. He is the man, and we are going to break this down. I'm Brian Benson, and next to me is that guy who runs naked backwards through cornfields, Mike Stull. He's about to read from Dominate Your Day. Check it out. It's on his site at michaelstull.com.
All right, before I start reading, I apologize. I'm a little under the weather, so I got that sexy man deep voice going on right now.
Deep voice.
So here we go. There's a story about a young man who wanted to climb the success ladder. He was always looking for his next deal, his next account. He wanted to take all the time. Along the way, he lost sight of the most important principle, which is the ability to give. That may look like a bad business plan. Give more? How can you give more in value and still make money? Word of advice for those reading this: the best givers are also some of the best getters. Giving is magnetic, giving is caring, giving is excellent customer service. The more you give in time, patience, love, positivity, detail, and passion, the more people will want more of it, of what you are building. That is where the circle of giving and taking comes together while making money and changing lives in the process. Be a giver from your heart and watch it change your life for the better. The one thing I want to add to that is give and you shall receive.
That's right. That is right. That is an old saying, and it's a great saying, and it's exactly why we're talking about this today. This book is incredible. I've had the opportunity, like I said, to interview Bob Burg. Just a great individual. We had great conversation. He is truly somebody who walks the talk. You know what I mean? He practices what he preaches, and his books are amazing. So we're going to dive right into these 5 laws of stratospheric success. And Mike's going to go through the pretty much them, and then we're going to continue just adding more value, free value, to our listeners.
Yeah, exactly. So what I just read out of my book is actually kind of the story from the book that we're talking about, which I will say, honestly, is one of the best books I've ever read. So with the shameless plug, obviously I want you to buy my book, but honestly, the book that we're talking about, The Go-Giver, I actually read it on a plane in like 2.5 hours. It's a very short, quick read. It really just blew my mind on the simplicity of it and the business principle of it, because when you first read it, all the information sounds very contradictory, but then he kind of brings it together towards the end and it just mind blows you. So before I get into the first law of success, basically, long story short, it's just about a young guy. I mean, I read the book and I think about the guy, his name's Joe, being me and you. It's a young guy. He's trying to climb the ladder. He's very ambitious. He's a go-getter. He works hard. He's very passionate, but he's kind of struggling a little bit to find the fulfillment, and he's not as nearly as successful as what he wants to be. So some of his colleagues that he works with sends him to this guy called the chairman. He's a multi-billionaire, super successful, and Joe goes to him one day for the entire week, 7 days in a row, and each day he teaches them one of the 5 laws. So I wanted to go over the laws here, and it's really not just about business, it's about life. Like at the end it says these are the 5 laws of life.
Yeah.
So the first law is the law of value. Your true worth is determined by how much more you give in value than you take in payment. And the example that they give is, I wrote down tax example. A good example would be if you are a tax person and you charge someone $1,000 to do their taxes. Now, that would seem like a lot of money to someone, but we think in terms of, we place a monetary value on something, you know. But let's say the tax person saved me $5,000 on my taxes. Well, then that may be worth more to me than it is to someone else. So the tax person's only taken in payment of $1,000, but they're providing so much more in value to me if I was the one, saving me $5,000, that more than likely I'm going to want to go back and have them do my taxes every single time. I'm probably going to go and tell my friends, hey, you got to go to this tax person because she or he saved me $5,000. You know what I mean? So although at first when I read it, I thought, man, this sounds like a bad formula. Like, how do you give more than you take back in payment? But that's like the good example that they would give in the book.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I think that, and that really is a great example, because a lot of people do think monetarily, which is totally cool. But I also think that money's just all relative. If you truly believe that that person's product or service is worth X amount of dollars, you're going to pay X amount of dollars for it. You know, if that's, you know, you will find your tribe who thinks, you know, I can't even tell you how many people I, you know, subscribe to, like Mixergy's one, which is one of my mentors, Andrew Warner. Well, he charges $50 a month. It was $25 a month, but I could get it free on the podcast. But it's like, but I got more value when he did courses that I could watch as well. So it's like, yeah, I'll pay the monthly fee for it, because even though I can listen to almost everything that you have, there's a little bit more value that had helped me shape my business and grow my business to help me see dollars come in my door. You know what I mean?
It was relative to you.
It was relative
to the person
to
that
me.
was purchasing it. It's like someone may think that buying a Lamborghini or a Ferrari is outrageous for, let's say, 400 grand, but if that is providing them true value and tons of happiness and enhancing their lives the way that they want it to, well, that's relative to them. So that $400 or $400,000 is totally worth it.
Right. It's like some things are just almost priceless, you know, and that's you know, it's all in the eye of the beholder. But it's also that if that thing or that service makes you so happy and fulfills you, what's $1,000? What's $10,000? What's $1 million? Maybe that is just doesn't even come into play. So it's how much value you're adding, you know, is what people will, you know, that's what they're going to pay for. They're paying for make more money, get healthy, like what you do. Think about what you do. People pay a lot of money to, you know, get these comprehensive plans that are catered custom to them. You know, and they're willing to give X amount of dollars every time, but the value, you've even said it yourself, is people say I'm even underpriced at times, because they say, I can't believe how much value this is. That's why you continue getting customers. And that's why that's why you're an author, and that's why you keep growing. So
Right, and although there's 5 laws that we're going over, really the biggest one, and that's why it's labeled first, and they talk about it in the book first, is value, because you have to be providing value. If you're not providing value, then you're not going to make any money. Period. You're not going to have a good relationships with someone. Like, value is the common denominator amongst everything that we're talking about.
Yeah, people have to know, like, and trust you, and you know who does this really well is Gary Vee. I mean, think about all his shows, all the stuff that he puts out there for free online to show, like, provide value. But guess what? Like, he provides so much value, then when he writes a book and sends it out there, everybody buys it, everybody reviews it, everybody. So think about that, you know, as you're building your business. Like, what thing can you do that adds so much value to people that when you do come up with a product or service, they just want to buy it.
Yeah, and in the book it says that you're changing the mindset of I to others. And if you can do that, then you're truly providing value. The second principle is compensation. It says the law of compensation states that your income is determined by how many people you serve and how well you serve them. So when you apply this to the value, the first one, I'm going to take each one back to the first one. If you're giving them tons of value, you're going to be compensated very heavily, because more than likely you're going to be serving a lot of people and you're going to be serving them very well. So going back to the Gary Vee example, is he provides a ton of value so that when he has a service such as his book, tons of people are going to go and buy it, tons of people are going to review it, tons of people are going to buy it and give it to their friends or tell their friends about it. So he's going to be serving many, many people, and he's going to be serving them very well. And ta-da, Gary Vee is a multimillionaire.
Yeah.
So there you go. Exactly. Weird how that's connected. So as we go through these values, we're going to, these laws, we're going to keep taking it back to value.
Yeah, exactly. And one thing I want to talk about, because right now I'm reading Delivering Happiness, the Zappos story, and one of their core values is to wow with service. but they upgrade people all the time. They give them 365 days to return. They ship extra stuff when people are like coming back and buying more from them. So they keep rewarding people and keep providing more value, giving them VIP service. Maybe the shipment comes within a day instead of like 3 days or 5 to 7 business days. And that gets people going, man, oh man, I'm going to keep buying from them. So in the end, the compensation is going to be huge because that buyer is going to buy more from them in the long run because of all this, the wowing with service and value they're providing.
Right, I love that. Okay, so the third law of stratospheric success is influence. Your influence is determined by how abundantly you place other people's interests first. And I like this one because, you know, I think the reason why we're doing this podcast is because we do want to have an influence. We want to reach people. We want to touch lives. We want to inspire and motivate. So when it says that your influence is determined by how abundantly you place other people's interests first is, again, going back to value. Are we placing other people's interests first? No matter what business or field that you're involved in, when you're changing it from I to them, to the others, you're filling in a gap or a void in their life, some sort of a service that they find value that's relative to them, okay, which means that you're probably going to increase your influence.
100%. And when I interviewed Bob Burg, I asked him what leadership was, and Bob said, I'm going to take what John Maxwell always says, and we obviously, you guys know, we talk about Maxwell, we take stuff from Maxwell's books, but I asked him what leadership was. He said, leadership is influence, nothing less, nothing more. That's what leadership is. And what do? Leaders help people get to where they want to go. It's not about how fast they can get there, it's how fast we can get there together as an organization. That's what influence is. When you put more dollar signs and things on others' heads to help them get to where they want to go, you will build a much bigger following, and you will truly create that influence and get people to follow you and build the movement that you want.
I love that, man. I love that. I don't have anything to add to that one. That's a good one. All right, the fourth law is authenticity, which this is a really good one. The most valuable gift you have to offer is yourself. And we've talked about authenticity in a previous podcast segment. And, you know, I think that, again, going back to if you try to be somebody that you're not, eventually, you know, it's very hard to maintain that. Why would you want to be somebody else when there's only one of you? You know, and I think that people latch on to people that are authentic and that are real and that are genuine because there's a trust factor there. There's no wall there because you know that they're not being fake to you. You know, so being authentic is, as you know, you're good in this one, building relationships and networking, that when you go out and you network with people and you're trying to develop relationships, you know, you can pick up pretty quickly on someone that's not being authentic.
Right.
So what happens? You usually don't want to pursue them. You don't want to do business with them. You really probably don't want to be friends with them because you think that they're probably blowing smoke up your ass. You know, so if you're truly being authentic, people are going to be more than likely to at least hear you out on what your thoughts and your ideas are. And they might be more prone to jumping on board with you and heading in the direction that you want to head in.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I don't have a lot to add to that because we did do a podcast on it and you summed it up pretty well. You know, stay authentic, true to yourself. There's a reason why every single day there's a new YouTube star, there's a new Instagram star, there's a new Facebook Live stars, because these people are getting on there and they're being authentic and people are driven to that. There's a reason why shows like Kardashians, shows like, you know, these reality TV shows are big, but they're also declining because it's becoming more fake. It's why really reality TV blew up, because people are like, whoa, I'm just watching people that are similar to me, like that are being super authentic, that are not acting. You know, these people aren't acting. So it's just different. But now, like, those reality shows have become more acting, and that's why people are so driven to the YouTubes of the world, because they're just like, oh, wow, like, these people, it's just more of a real authentic feel behind what they're doing and teaching and helping, and why people are building great communities online every day. It's insane. So authenticity, check out that episode. We really dig deep into it, because I don't want to go so deep into this one, because we really dissected authenticity to you know, a really deep degree. So I think it's like our 5th episode, so check it out.
It was early on. And the one thing I would add to the authenticity is no matter what you are selling, I mean, really at the end of the day, you're selling yourself.
Yeah.
So if I was a car salesman and I had people coming in, yeah, I'm selling the cars, but honestly, if the people really don't like you that are trying to buy the car, it's going to be very hard to sell the car. Like, you're selling yourself just as much as you are the car. So, you know, you gotta just be honest. You gotta make the people feel comfortable. You have to, again, go back to the first principle, give those people extreme value so that they're comfortable with you being authentic. And they all work together. Not one of these works I mean, they all work well by themselves, but the whole concept behind the book is that when you can combine all of these together, you're going to greater increase your chances of being successful.
Love it.
The 5th one, receptivity. And this is a cool one. I talk about this in my book a little bit too. And I'm not the best at this one. In fact, I've screwed this one up many, many times, and I'll give details on that. But the law of receptivity is that the key to effective giving is to stay open to receiving.
Yeah.
Okay? And, you know, I'm not the best at this because my love language is giving.
Yeah,
like, I love to
same,
buy
right.
gifts, and I love to do things for other people. And sometimes I feel uncomfortable when people try to do that to me, okay? And I tell them no, and my dad's like that. That's probably who I get that from. But sometimes I don't feel comfortable getting gifts from people, but I got to understand that I am stopping them from blessing me in completing that circle. Like, if I know I feel good when I give you something, what is it my right to deny you of feeling that way when you want to give me something? And so I try to remind myself of that. And again, I'm not good at it, that sometimes when I get something, I don't even know what to say. Or maybe I act like really awkward or something, you know? But it's true, though. The whole cycle of, like, you know, let's say, I mean, I guess I can't think of something off the top of my head with business or something like that, but you know, in the business world, the same is true. If you're really trying to give and to provide value, then, you know, they may want to reciprocate that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, it kind of goes back to the accountant story that you talked about. You know, this person is putting in their time, their effort, their energy to help you get to a better place. Like, and they are being compensated through $1,000. You know what I mean? Like, and what were they going to say? Like, no, like, I don't want your money. No, I don't want, like, I provided this service. Like, you know, so I think, you know, I think that everybody is we all have to be open to receiving. And I think that everybody is worthy of that. You know, what you put out in the universe, you should get back. And if you're doing these laws and you're putting stuff out there, it is your birthright to receive those, all the good nature and positive vibes and things that you've helped others do, you should receive back. I mean, that's what I believe God does for many people, like, and, you know, just because that's my belief, but whatever that is, universe, whatever, I think that, you know, you should be open to receiving more. I mean, everybody needs it. So,
I mean, I guess I felt selfish when I receive sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, but then again, though, that person is wanting to give. And like a good example that I just thought of in my head was, let's say your friend owned an exotic car rental business. Okay? No, it's not what you think.
Don't go there.
No. But this is what I thought of. Let's say your friend owned an exotic car rental business, and let's say he was doing very well, but he wanted to allow you to take the car for the day. Okay? But you felt kind of bad about it. And you're like, no, it's good, I'm not going to take it. Well, one, you're not only stopping him from feeling good that he's letting you enjoy an exotic car for the day. That's what your friend wants you to do. He wants to bless you with that. But you also might be breaking up the cycle of, let's say you're out and about, or you're posting yourself driving on social media. You might even be not only blocking him from feeling good for letting you drive the car, but you may even block him from getting some business.
Yeah, right.
Going back to him, where let's say you're at a stoplight and some guy that has a ton of money, where'd you get that car? Oh, my friend owns so-and-so's business, and you just prevented him from getting maybe a customer.
Yeah.
You know, so that's something I could think of in the business world, you know, that maybe it could block potential business too. But, you know, this is something that I need to get better at is receiving, because it does feel good to give. But you got to keep that cycle going.
I agree. You have to. It's so important. So I love that, man. And, you know, I love that money echoes value. I love that, you know, money follows passion. But something I want to kind of get a little bit more deep into this, Mike, and this is sort of what we talked about.
I know it's coming.
Well, we talk about this a lot. I have a lot of friends, a lot of people, including you and me, who add a ton of value, who work really hard. And I'm just dissecting this from my experiences point of view, my entrepreneurial point of view, and that is sometimes, you know, it seems like it's not working. Sometimes it's like, man, I put out so much free content. Sometimes I feel like I put out so much stuff, and then it's like, I feel that I've added value. I have not seen any compensation. You know, maybe I haven't influenced anybody, but then again, I get like Facebook messages. You get all these emails. Your book, oh my gosh, it changed my life. So you influenced people. You know, you are authentic throughout. You know, and then the reciprocity thing. I think that, you know, that may be something like you know, somebody sends you something, or you're receiving good compliments or something. Right. So you're okay with that.
Right.
But it's like, how do we get that compensation piece? You know, where does, when is too much value too much? And, you know, I don't know. Right.
And I think that's the reason why this segment strikes a chord with us, is because these all sound great, and they all are great. And I read this book back in like 2011, 2012, and I've been trying to apply these since then. I told this to Brian.
And you have.
And I have. And I told this to Brian off air before we started, that I'm nowhere near where I want to be financially successful or anything like that. So just because you implement all these doesn't mean you're going to become a multimillionaire.
Yeah.
You know, nothing may work. You know, in fact, really nothing has gone the way I wanted it to go. It's gone in different directions, and some has been really good, some has been bad. But like, I'll put myself on blast. For my online fitness training, I said this to Brian off air, is I get pissed off because I do provide a ton of value. In fact, I provide so much value that sometimes I get emails back from clients saying, wow, I cannot believe I got all this for the price that you are charging. This is so much more than I expected. This is awesome, you know, like all the details and stuff like that. So with that being said, according to what we just went over, I should be the #1 online personal trainer in the world.
I know.
And I'm not. In fact, I'm not even close to that. I'm pissed off where I'm at. Okay, so going over this doesn't mean that we're experts in this, because like, I'm reading this stuff and I'm like, okay, now even myself, I'm applying this, but there's still a gap. There's still a gap, because I've executed a lot of this stuff on my own, and I still am not to the level, or not even close to where I want to be. So to answer your question, I don't know either.
I know.
You know, and that's why we're being transparent on this podcast, is that I don't know what that answer is. All I know is that, like, you just have to keep going.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to give up on that stuff. You know, like, going back over this stuff and going on Bob Burg's website and reading some of this stuff makes me realize I can tighten up on a few things. I can update a few things. I can make some changes, but I don't know what that answer is. Maybe the service or the product that you're providing just isn't that great.
Yeah.
Maybe there's not a huge need for it. Like, online personal training is not for everybody. In fact, I'm probably cutting out 50% of the population that actually physically needs someone there.
Yeah, right.
So I can't expect for them people to sign up for my online training. You know, my book, maybe people don't want to read. I know a lot of people that do not want to read. They'd rather listen. Well, I'm screwed because I don't have the audio to this. You know what I mean?
But it's coming soon.
But it's coming soon, damn it. My voice is all messed up. Wait till people listen to this in the car, like, when did Mike transition? You know what I mean? But I'm glad you brought that up, because it's like putting us on blast. Because I know that you've applied a lot of these, and you're nowhere where you need to be.
Oh yeah, man.
You know?
I mean, and to, you know, I'll put myself out there. Like, I do 5 days a week Facebook Live for, I don't know, I've probably done close to 200 Facebook Lives. I mean, I don't think that that's a massive or astronomical amount, like 25 episodes. It's not, you know, all of a sudden we're not getting these speaking gigs that we want to. I still think we got to prove ourselves, you know, but yeah, I'm not like all of a sudden getting tons of coaching clients because of all the value I've put out there. I mean, it's just the reality of it. Maybe hey, maybe it's a good checkup. Maybe it's like, dude, maybe I'm not providing a lot of value. Maybe it's not as cool. Maybe I'm drinking my own Kool-Aid. I don't know. Who the heck knows, you know? But what it comes down to, I really believe, is these are amazing, amazing 5 points, and you need to have them in your life. But what it really, really comes down to at the end of the day is execution, execution, execution. You have to take constant and consistent massive action every single day, and eventually it will turn. I think there will be a tipping point, Mike. I don't know when or how, but yeah. I think it definitely does. Like, I do think about Gary Vee, who, yes, he was selling wine online, but like, it didn't blow up for 18 months. He was just sitting at this desk like you and I are and talking about wines. Did he have to change some stuff? Did he add a new background? Did he put some toys on the desk similar to us? Yes. I mean,
did he get drunk on air? I think he probably did get.
You know what? Maybe we're gonna get drunk on air next time.
Pushing the limits in business, life, and health, and drinking alcohol,
yeah,
and your liver.
But you know, so I'm definitely not going against any of this stuff. My question is, and maybe the audience knows, you know, when is too much, when is, maybe it is the product though, now that I think about it, like, when is too much value too much? You know, and then it's like, and then when you're not seeing the results, I think you have to go back to, okay, what is my service? What is my product? What are the things I'm providing? Because, hey, as Gary Vee says, the market's the market, and if you could have an awesome product, but if the market's not accepting it, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think that's a valid point right there. Yeah, not saying that your product or service isn't great, but maybe it's the timing.
Yeah.
Maybe the market like literally doesn't care about it at that point in time, and that could be the thing. Now, the one thing I will say in the book is that the common denominator for the theme is that the main character, the young guy, he met with like 4 or 5 different very successful people that the billionaire sent him to during the week. One was like a restaurant owner, another was like a CEO, one was like a broker, but the common denominator, interesting enough, in the book was that they all like caught a break in some shape or form. Like they had met someone along the way, that a door opened.
There it is.
or so, it was interesting. I won't get into details on the different stories because you should read them because they are interesting. But like the 5 people that he met with during the week, they all said, well, I came across so-and-so and they knew a person that could get me into the real estate, and I found a building to open up my restaurant, and it was all integrated together. So it was really about like the people that they were meeting and crossing paths with that was interesting, and that they said that it didn't happen overnight. It was like a long process that took time.
Yeah.
The one thing that the example I do want to give that they talk about in the book, and I summed it up in my book too, was about value. Was that there was in the city, I don't know what city it was, but they did a citywide vote for the best restaurant. And people were voting and stuff like that. Well, out of all these 5-star restaurants that could have won, it was actually a little hot dog stand on the corner that won. And it wasn't because he like had like, you know, 5-star dishes and this extravagant food and stuff like that. It was because he made eating his hot dogs like literally one of the best experiences you could ever have. He knew every single person's name every day that walked up. He remembered their name because they came there often, and he engaged in conversation with them, and he entertained the kids while they were standing there and stuff. Like this little guy owning a hot dog stand, he got voted best restaurant experience in the entire city because it wasn't that his hot dog was unique, it was that the value and the experience that he was providing was so unique that it made people want to go and eat his hot dog.
Yeah.
It might not even been 100% all beef, damn it. It might have been with fillers, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it didn't matter. That it was the value. So, you know, but then again, we say that, and I think, well, my online fitness training, man, I give some awesome value. Why am I not the number one online trainer in the world, Brian?
I don't know.
You know?
I mean, but I think that says a lot. Like, and this goes back to somebody that I look up to a lot, you know, and a mentor of mine from afar, and he's not even with us anymore. But it's like Walt Disney, like. And what this guy did at the hot dog stand was similar to Walt Disney. Was there was some emotion, there was something they tapped into. People don't buy things typically because, okay, I need toilet paper because, well, yeah, everybody poops, right? So yeah, but it's also like there's the wants in life are sold with here. You know, it's sold with the heartstrings. It's sold that you're buying because you feel emotional, you feel excited, or it gives you some type of feeling. What this guy, what he really was, he's not in the hot dog selling business. He's not in the restaurant business. He's in the people business. That's what he's in. You know what I mean? And sometimes I got to think maybe that's maybe what we're in more than, and I also want, like, we need more feedback, you know, and that's, I don't know why this episode is just like hitting me hard right now, isn't it? We're kind of getting crazy.
I think that this episode is kind of bringing up to surface our frustrations that we've dealt with personally.
Yeah, right.
You know,
I mean,
like,
dude, it's tough.
Like, I feel like we give a ton of value on this podcast now. Do we have as many reviews, comments, shares, and all that stuff as we want? No, which is why we ask you guys to do that. Because we do want the feedback.
Yeah.
To make sure that we are giving you guys so much value that you go and tell your friends about the podcast and your family and your coworkers, so that we can keep the cycle going, so that we can give. We want to receive. You know, we want this podcast to blow up into something very special, so that we can continue to give you guys value. But I think it's striking a chord with us personally, because even when you apply these laws, which are awesome.
Yeah.
It doesn't guarantee that you're going to have success, and it certainly doesn't guarantee that you're going to have success immediately.
Right.
But the quote in the book, or, you know, the subtitle of the book, The Go-Giver, is give exceptional value, enjoy extraordinary results. Mm-hmm. And it says that when you put money as the main goal, rather than as a result of the main goal, that's kind of a recipe for disaster.
Right.
And I've been guilty of that. I've been guilty of money's the goal, and then money's the result. Well, it doesn't work, because if you're in the people business, like what you said, everyone technically should be in the people business. Yeah, I would say, no, you know, impacting the lives of people is my main goal. Making tons of money would be a result of that.
Right.
But then again, we've done that.
I know.
And we're still not there. So again, this is why this is an ongoing learning experience for us too. That's why I think it's striking chords with us.
Yeah. No, I agree, man.
And plus, I've been sick the past 2 days.
Oh,
I've
he's
had a lot
having
of time to
issues.
think about things.
Mike's thinking about a lot of stuff. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get into the challenge. We beat this over the head. We've talked about it. We want to hear your feedback. Please hit us up. You know, let us know what you think. Give us any feedback. My wife is extremely pregnant, and she's calling me, so I am a little bit worried, but we're going to wrap this up right now. All right. Challenge is get out and add value. Provide more value. Create a show like Mike and I are doing. Do Facebook Lives. Add extra, you know, like in Mike's, you know, comprehensive plans, maybe he adds extra meal plans or a book or something that gets them going. So provide more value, and I promise it'll come back tenfold.
All right, and the health tip for this segment is IIFYM. What does that stand for? If it fits your macros. We've all heard this. People say, no, I can eat this because it fits my macros. Maybe your macros are 230 grams of protein for the day, 330 grams of carbs, and 75 grams of fat. People say as long as you fit all the food into those macros, that's what counts. Well, that's okay. You want to hit your macros, but you also, the quality of the food counts. So people will say, oh, I'm going to have like 2 Pepsis, you know, 2 pizzas, and that fits my macros. That's fine. But the thing is, though, is if you're eating a lot of that stuff, that's going to add up, and your health is going to show that. So if it fits your macros, is good. That means you're being flexible in your diet. If you want to go and have a piece of an entire pizza, but you ate healthy the entire day and that pizza still fits within your macronutrient requirements, that's okay. But I'm just saying you can't always be eating shitty foods just because it simply fits your macros. So flexible dieting is key to long-term success, but the quality of your food counts just as much.
IIFYM. Follow it. All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. We love you. We appreciate you. Please comment, subscribe, rate, and review. We would be so grateful for that. We are really working to get the new and noteworthy, and we would appreciate any reviews that you give us. And we also really, 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 really would love feedback from you guys. What do you want us to talk about? What would be helpful for you? Where can we provide more value so you can be more successful in business, life, and health? Thank you for joining, and we'll see you all on the next episode.